Good morning. Dear listeners, welcome to Novaturas meeting with investors. I'm Emilia from Nasdaq and I'll be moderating today's event. We will start with a presentation from the management, which will be followed by the Q&A session. Please be informed that this webinar is being recorded and will be available for a rewatch. As always, I encourage every one of you to share your questions in the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen, and you can submit them either anonymously or with your name. With that said, I'm pleased to introduce today's presenters, Chief Executive Officer of the company, Vitaly Rakovsky, and Chief Financial Officer, Vygantas Reifonas. Dear guests, please, the floor is yours and good luck.
Thank you very much. Hello, dear investors and all the participants. It's a big pleasure to have you here. So today we're going to present you our financial results for the first 3 months and also update you with a full year outlook. To begin with, our sales during the first half of the first quarter of this year are up by 35%. We recorded increasing revenues every consecutive month, which was driven by 2 reasons. First of all, our volumes increased by approximately 4%, and then the remaining sales growth came from average sales price increase. The average sales price increase was mainly driven by increasing basically all components of our tour package, primarily fuel price, jet fuel price, following by hotel prices. That said, our gross profitability also increased and quite substantially, more than 2 times. We reached the gross profitability of almost 16%, which is way better than we did last year when it was up to 10%. And ultimately, it resulted quite high EBITDA result, which is 2.6 million. This result is, I would say so, extremely good, especially for the first quarter when we have let's say low season or winter season when our sales are typically much lower. However, the profitability this quarter is extremely good, and even looking backwards some 5-6 years in a row, probably it would be one of the best or the best first quarter of the year of Novaturas. Also, our EBITDA of 2.6 million attributed to net profit of almost 2.3 million. This good result was mainly driven, I would say so, by 4 reasons. So first of all is the fact that we well diversified our destinations, and it was always our priority. And especially we well, let's say, materialized this direction in the first quarter, where our long haul share extremely increased, almost 2 times, so up to 20% of our total sales were generated from long haul destinations, and typically long haul destinations are generating much higher sales profit per pax. So this is the first thing. Second thing is that we continuously improving our own sales performance. So our own sales share also increased, and considering the fact that it is a more, let's say, efficient sales channel for us, so it has a lower cost base, it also allowed to improve the profitability. Thirdly, we also did timely and quite strategically good decisions to consolidate in certain of our markets in Latvia and Estonia, the Egypt destination, where we saw the increasing competition, and we also saw that there is a huge risk of price war, so basically additional pressure on the margins, and that's why knowing that it could impact our profitability, we consolidated with one of the other tour operators, which allowed us to, let's say, decrease the last minute typically loss-making sales. And last but not least is, of course, the fact that the jet fuel prices and USD Euro exchange rate were also contributing positively on our cost of sales. So this is mainly the reasons behind such good performance. It results sales profit per pax more than 100 euros, so 120 euros per pax, which is a very good result, I would say so, for the first quarter performance. Going forward, almost 60% of our annual program, when I say annual program, I mean summer destinations and winter destinations starting from November, are also well sold out. So almost 60% are sold out by the end of May, which basically allows us to look positively on year to go performance. Also, this year, in April, we executed the largest, I would dare to say so, vacation project in Lithuanian history, where we, together with another tour operator, Air Guru, carried almost 2,500 passengers to one of our destinations, and it was a huge vacation, which was a great success for all the participants, including us. So knowing our volume, so 2,500 passengers, it's quite huge and considerable contribution to overall performance of Novaturas. Also in May, we introduced our full winter sales program. We added additional 3 destinations, and by that we're continuing our strategy implementation, where we want to diversify our destinations and we want to offer our clients something different than the mainstream destinations, which are let's say in winter season it's typically Egypt, in summer season it's typically Turkey. So additional 3 destinations introduced, and also looking on, of course, still very early bookings for winter 23-24. Our sales are up by 3 times versus the last year, which is also a promising start for us. Overlooking the competition, so despite the fact that competition going forward in the first quarter and going forward is increasing, we still firmly remain the market leader within the Baltic states, with quite considerable, let's say, difference versus the second largest market player. Shortly overlooking the competitive environment, I would say so that during the winter season, one additional tour operator, Join Up, was operating in the market. So that's one of the reasons why we were also looking wisely on our program and consolidating the flights where it was necessary. But going forward, also from June this year, another Turkish tour operator starts operations in the Baltic countries, which is called Annex Tour. And despite the fact that we, as Novaturas, were, let's say so, expecting maybe more aggressive start of this tour operator, however, based on the currently publicly available information, we see that the start of this tour operator would be a bit of a maybe slower, let's say so, than we expected, which let's say slightly eases pressure on summer sales. Also, during the first quarter of this year, we introduced our 3 years growth strategy, where we said that our main focus would be into 4 directions. First of all, it's business growth through technologies. Second of all, we would put a lot of attention to the sustainable travel direction, and also we would put attention towards our clients and employees. So the 3-year strategy is available also publicly, and those who haven't seen it can take a look at it and get more information. Also, I would say that looking forward, our summer sales are, let's say, were well secured with jet fuel hedge instruments, which was not the case last year, and was one of the reasons why our second quarter performance was extremely poor, I would say so, where we recorded a net loss on EBITDA and net profit level. Meanwhile, going forward, we are well secured, so more than at this moment 70% of our sold passengers are hedged with jet fuel futures and forex futures. That's why we feel much more comfortable looking in the summer. A few words about the performance by markets and by destinations. So first of all, our sales in Lithuanian market are up almost, our volumes are up almost 13%. In Latvia, it's 9%. Meanwhile, in Estonian market, it is a decrease of 12%. So in Lithuanian market, we were Egypt destination was not how to say intensively consolidated. That's why the volumes in Egypt destination increased, and we did quite well with this destination in Lithuania. Meanwhile, seeing higher competition and also maybe not as high as we expected demand, we consolidated our Egypt flights and that's why volumes there were a bit lower. However, as I said before, we introduced a lot of long-haul destinations, and per markets it's different, but overall it contributed significantly towards our let's say performance and our long-haul share substantially increased. Average selling price is more than 1,000, and that's probably one of the highest average selling prices through the last few years. So the general inflation is quite high as overall in the market. The same happens with the traveling sector. So average selling price is 1,100 euros. Mainly it is driven by the fuel price increases, the hotel price increases, and also in our case it's also influenced by the fact that the destination mix between is changed. So we are selling more long-haul destinations where the average selling price is considerably high. Taking a look on our distribution channels and the effective commission. So as was said in the beginning, our distribution sales mix is changing, and our main sales channel remains the same. So it's travel agencies, but the share of travel agencies is decreasing 3 quarters in a row. So as you see, in year 21 it was 70%. Meanwhile, this quarter we recorded only 66%. And looking deeper into that, our own sales channel is increasing substantially. So from 11% of share, now it's almost 18% of share. Our web sales are more or less stable. So it was at 19%. This quarter is slightly lower. It's almost 17%. However, going forward, our attention to the web sales remains, let's say, very high. That's why one of the main priorities in our strategy is the introduction of a new web page. which would be based on the new technology, and it would be with totally different user experience. And we're planning to launch this already the first half of this year, so in sometime in June. So that's from where we expect our web sales also to increase. So even despite that, our unique visitors flow into our web page is increasing. So it's up by more than 25% comparing year over year. And also taking a look on the shares between our tour operators in their web pages. So we are dominant there, more than 50% of total internet flow, let's say, so goes to Novaturas. If to take a look on our operating expenses and sales and marketing expenses, so here the situation is, I would also say, well managed. So our costs are under control. Our total sales and marketing and general and administrative expenses increased by 23%. If to divide it into the marketing, so it's 27% increase, and general administrative expenses 17% increase, but it's much lower increase versus our sales. So that's why our share to sales is even decreasing. So it's 5%. Meanwhile, last quarter it was in year 22 it was 5.6%. So I would say so that despite quite high inflationary environment, we are doing well with certain efficiency measures and trying to find the ways how to let's say slow down our OPEX increase. And so far we are doing good in terms of this. Last but not least, a forward-looking statement for the year 23. We would like to update certain our key performance indicators. So first of all, volume-wise, where in February we gave a guideline of 270,000 from 270,000 to 290,000. So this guideline remains unchanged. Annual revenue guideline also stays flat, so from 210 million to 225. Meanwhile, our guideline for EBITDA performance is increased, and so from 3 to 5 million to 4 to 6 million. So if the midpoint before was 4 million, now it's 5 million for EBITDA. And with the same amount, we update our net profit. Net profit from 1 million to 3 million. There was our initial guideline, and now the updated one is from 2 million to 4 million with the midpoint of 3 million. So the reason behind this guideline update is, first of all, of course, the strong first quarter, where you see that our net profit is already within the annual guideline range. Of course, the strong sales for summer are also giving additional push for guideline update. So this, I would say, so the two main reasons. Of course, there are certain risks which we accounted. However, time will show how they will materialize. So this first is that the impact of the competition can be different. So far we see extremely huge competition in Turkey destination, where there are 5 tour operators with their own programs offering clients a lot of flights. So that could have a certain negative impact for our performance. And of course, second is macroeconomic sentiment. So far, let's say, so we see that the demand for traveling is high. and we do not feel any substantial, let's say, impacts from the macroeconomics. Meanwhile, it's difficult to predict how it's going to be in the second half of the year, especially, I would say so, during autumn. Looking on a strategic, let's say, objectives, so we would keep implementing our strategy agenda with the main focuses to the digitalization, to improvement of customer experience. We also would be investing into the algorithmic pricing, and also would be developing additional extra services for our clients on top of traditional tour packages. So at this point, I would end up, and I would sum up this presentation in the following way: that the start of the year is extremely good, extremely strong. We did deliver one of the best results, first quarter results during the history of the company. Going forward, the perspectives are also good or moderate. The business model itself stands well. We're diversifying our destinations, we're diversifying our sales channels, we're investing into the technologies. So all these things should, going forward, contribute to value increase for shareholders. And now I leave the time for questions.
Thank you very much for the presentation. And indeed, let's proceed with the Q&A session. As we don't have any questions now, I would like to encourage all the participants to please send in your questions in the Q&A box of your screen, and I will read them out loud. You can send in your questions anonymously too. So let's take a minute to wait for the questions. All right, we have the first question, which is as following. What is the proportion of long-haul destinations in early booking sales? Thank you.
I probably, I'm talking about winter 23-24, wouldn't be able to name the number, but I would say the following: that going forward, even to the next season, we increased our long haul, let's say, selection and volumes even additionally by 50% versus this year. So this year should be even higher.
Thank you very much. Let's take a minute to wait for more questions to come in. All right, another attendee congratulates you on great results and asks you, could you please elaborate a bit more on the competition? How is the Ukrainian Up is doing and the Turkish Challenger? Thank you.
Yes, so to put everything in a structured way, so last year the newcomer called Join Up, Ukrainian tour operator, launched the operations. This year a new one, Annex, should launch operations for Turkey starting from June. So as I said in the presentation, the launch of Annex operations are so far, in our opinion, are let's say so slow and not as aggressive as maybe we expected. So there were different information in the market how they can start and how strong it would be. So far it's I would call it moderate launch of operations. Meanwhile, JoinUp finds its customers through I would say so quite low average selling prices. So basically a bit of a targeting, maybe a bit different client profile than we have. So far, they are proceeding with their operations, I would say so. So they were, let's say, so maybe more aggressive during the winter season, as JoinUp is well known for strong operations in Egypt. Meanwhile, they don't have maybe such strong operations or such strong destinations during the summer. However, they're also having some, let's say, some also moderate operations with, if I recall correctly, of market share of some 10 plus percent, 10 something percent.
All right, thank you very much. Coming back to the long-haul destinations, so will the long-haul destination proportions remain similar in summer and autumn of this year compared to this quarter?
And no, during the summer, basically the share of long hauls is much lower due to the seasonality of the business. Typically, long hauls are offered to our clients during the winter. So during the summer, we have almost no long hauls, and then they're restarting from November.
All right, thank you very much. I would like to ask the attendees to please send in your questions now, as it seems that only one question is coming at the time. So the next question would be as following: where do you see the proportion of own sales in the total mix?
So far, it's difficult to predict the share, and we do not have any kind of particular number for our sales. Just we have a, let's say, strategic direction to improve our web sales. So we want them to grow on a higher pace than total sales. So that should contribute to share increase. How quickly and how well we can do it, time will show up. We believe that the strong, let's say, background and backbone for this direction is the introduction of new web page, which would be a fundamental change. And going forward, we're gonna invest into web page substantially. So this is, let's say, first thing. And also we're how to say, investing into the efficiency measures of our own sales. So we are developing the customer relationship management system. We are developing the customer service standard, which we believe and already see that substantially contributes to increasing sales efficiency of our own sales channels. And even in certain markets, our own sales share is, I would say, so quite high, up to even 40%. So totally, it's this quarter it's 34, yes, but in other markets, in certain particular markets, it's up to 40%. So this share should go. However, we don't want to, how to say, intentionally, how to say, forget about the channeling agencies channel, as there the competition is also high, and certain our competitors are operating only through this channel. So that's why we're gonna be, and we would be strong in this channel as well. So only, as I say, time will show up which channel would perform best.
Thank you very much. Do you expect strong pricing pressure from the Turkish competitor?
So far, by the way, good question. Also, we were expecting the pricing competition with new competitor entering the market would be high. But so far, I would say so. It's not they are not as aggressive with the prices as we expected. So far, again, time may change, but there is quite huge competition from the existing competitors, as there is generally quite huge supply of seats to the market to the Turkey destination. So it's enough of the let's say so fight between the existing competitors.
Thank you very much. As all the questions are answered, on behalf of Novaturas and Nasdaq, thank you everyone for joining. It was a pleasure hosting you today. As always, the recording will be available for a rewatch. Dear management, thank you very much for the presentation. Have a good day, everyone, and goodbye.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye. See you.